Check 1 2 1 2. Good evening, everybody. God aften allesammen, kære venner, dear friends from everywhere. Hope you've had a great week so far. I've really been looking forward to this Thursday. It's the 11th episode. Can you believe it? More than 10 weeks ago, we started the short and sweet session. And tonight, my special guest is a very, very, very dear friend of mine whom I love very dearly and whom I have lots of great memories with in music and just through life. So it's my biggest honor and pleasure to introduce to you my dear friend, the songstress for life, the one and only Julie Lindell. But before we do that, let me just ask you if you're ready, because if you are, let's do this. Next up on the Short and Sweet Session.
The Short and Sweet Session.
With gospel music at her core, Julie Lindell is a charismatic singer, writer, producer, choir director who grew up as a preacher's kid and has become one of the most in-demand vocal technicians to graduate from the world-renowned Complete Vocal Institute in Copenhagen. Her debut album, To Whom It May Concern, showcased such stellar vocal performances that it is no wonder she's worked with a plethora of international artists, from gospel titan Andre Crouch to Denmark's national treasure in music, Linnet. Join us as we talk about the science behind complete vocal technique, what inspires her, and what successful singing truly means. Coming up. Oh my God, I'm so excited to bring her in. Please, dear friends, please show your love. Confetti, and I know she loves glitter as well. Please show your love for the one and only Miss Julie Lindell. You're live, darling.
I'm live.
You're live. Obviously, we're going to do this in English, selvom vi godt kan gøre det på dansk, but we have friends from all over, so we want to include the more the merrier.
The two of us, we could do it in French. We have French.
We could do it in French. We could do it in Hebrew. We could do it like this. We could do it in any language you want, whatever you want. Our PayPal is just down below, and we can do whatever you want. No, first of all, thank you so much, my dear friend, for taking the time to hang out with me, because I know you're living your best life somewhere in the outskirts of Copenhagen, living your best life with your wonderful family. But how are you doing? It's a few weeks ago that I saw you, but how have you been during this holiday, Corona, whatever season it is?
Yeah, it's so weird. It's like, I just spoke to somebody about that. It's been so weird to have an atmosphere in your family, in your life, that you cannot find described anywhere in art. There's no picture, there's no music, there's no art anywhere where you can be understood with the emotions that you've had specifically in this time. It's been so weird.
Yeah.
Because it's never happened before in time that you had this like retreat, but still fear, but there's not a war, or it's like it's not been described in any time in history. So it's so unique. I hope lots of art comes out to describe what it's been like. But for me, it's been I've always the kind of person who's like, okay, let's get the best out of it,
Yes.
So I had a problem that I had so much teaching with my vocal students that couldn't happen. And so I just started making some videos so myself and them could stay fit during the Corona, and they could still have some exercises to do. And that just became very popular on Instagram. So
I love it.
Then I kept doing these videos, and people just really started to wish for certain videos in having me to teach like phrasings and ornamentations or distortion or whatever, all kinds of things. So it's just been it's been fun to do that,
You've been
like
productive no matter what. Yeah.
And then I done like TV stuff and studio stuff, and I've still done different things, but I had a whole tour canceled. So I've
Because
started
normally everybody
gardening.
would, this is the biggest, I mean, this is the big tour season, especially
Oh
for
yeah.
Scandinavian artists, because this is like you would be working almost every day during the season. So,
I like almost every day in May I had
yeah,
a concert and it
yeah,
was all canceled. So, but I mean it's it's just concerts. It's been moved to next year, but it was of course stressful financially that you're like, okay,
yeah,
you're not allowed to gather. I have many gospel choirs. I have, all these gigs and concerts that cannot happen. And so of course I think all artists have been first really stressful about your financial situation, but I mean, God's been really good to us because uh, my husband is a pianist and also a psychologist.
hmm,
And 3 hours before our prime minister shut down the country, he had a phone call that he had a full-time job as a psychologist.
I
So we
love
were
it.
like, and then she closed down. It was like, okay.
Let's do
So
it.
we didn't even know we would need that. So that was kind of a relief, and he wanted that and so on. But yeah, so I've started gardening. I've done, I've started taking care of the garden and
You're always productive. And you are not only okay. The thing about Julie Lindell, we go way back. We've
oh
spent
yeah.
a lot of time together in music school where we would walk the hallways and sing and vocal nerd out and like, did you listen
We
to this
would sing
vocalist?
so many
And
runs.
so many runs that like our tennis shoes were on fire. Like that's how fast we would try to run. So, and
Yay.
since then, you've had, I'm really proud of you. If I haven't told you this, I want to tell you that how proud I am of the journey you've taken because what I feel that we are blessed with, especially among our tight group of friends who are musicians, is that we have each other. A few weeks ago, I had our dear friend Linda Andrews
Yeah,
on.
I heard that.
I
You
heard.
talked about me.
No, we did. It was only love. But what we have together is that we can lean on each other and walk together through this path of not only life, but also music, because it's not an easy journey. And speaking of journey, I actually want to go back because what I find so fascinating talking to people, during this short and sweet session, is to figure out, although I've known you for years, I don't know this part of you. What was the first spark of inspiration that gave you the confidence to say, you know what, I think I can do this. I can make a life out of this. Because it's not written. You can't sign up for this journey that we've taken. It's not in the curriculum or like in school. Yay, you can be an artist. This is what you want to
Yeah.
do. What was the first experience or spark of or
I
incident?
always like had a childhood dream
Mhm.
about, singing in my what do you call jumping rope,
Yeah.
in front of the mirror, singing to actually a lot of the Eurovision songs, which we later got to do a lot of Eurovision together.
Won't he do it? The manifestation.
Oh yeah. So that was just back then. That was, but it's weird with me because I wasn't ambitious and thinking I'm going to go for this and so on. I never, ever, ever thought I was good enough for probably anything.
Mm.
I was dyslexic. I couldn't spell
Dyslexic,
in
yeah.
school.
Mhm.
Still can't spell. Don't know the English word for it. Apparently can't speak either. So I had just a very bad experience being in school because everything I did was just wrong because I couldn't spell. And back then you didn't have computers.
Not that many years ago.
10 years ago.
5 years ago.
5 years ago.
We had the iPad
so
1.
They had computers back then, but not as much as now, okay? It's not like it was before the computer.
Stress.
Cut that out. Okay, not that old. So, but I never had the confidence, Andy. When I met you in high school, I was like, wow, he's so confident. He's walking in favor. He's walking in this light that he just knows he's going to be a star, and he's already just, you were always like, and not in an arrogant way, you were always so confident and like lifting everybody up and like, we're all going to be superstars and it's going to be great, and I was like, I don't even think I'm a very good singer and I can't do. So when I was 16 and we were in high school and I got cast to be in the Hercules Disney movie
Yes.
and sing 8 songs in the movie, I was like, my
I was with you. We sang
life is
backup.
fulfilled.
Yeah.
Anything from now on is just a plus. Now it's like bigger than anything I had ever dreamt of.
So
So I never believed in myself, and then I all the time thought I'm just going to do this gig, and then I need to get into an education because you cannot make a living of singing. But I could. I never had a real job after high school. I never got a job. I just always sang, and the jobs are still there here 5 years later. or
But hold on, didn't you know in high school? Because the thing is that, so what people might not know out there is that we went to the probably the only or leading music high school in Copenhagen, and so every year we would write. We had like our competitions against. We would compete against the other classes, and we would have a yearly musical production that we had to write and produce and act and do everything. But didn't you know? Because I remember, like, I was always writing the song for the competition, and you were always the first pick for the vocal. And I believe, like, my experience of you is that maybe you didn't realize it at that time, but there was already a lot of buzz around you early on that you, like, this girl can sing. This maybe it didn't penetrate you. I mean, the things that we
Not
have to
at
know it
all.
ourselves first, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I didn't see it. I had been bullied earlier on in school, and I could not dance, I could not spell, I could not draw. I felt like the ugly duckling. I was so surprised that somebody would want me to sing, and every time I was so grateful, and I thought, this is probably going to be the last time, so enjoy it. This was how it felt for me. So
Yeah.
I was ej, undskyld, jeg sidder lige og laver sådan noget radio. So for me, it was, yeah, just very different, and I never expected it, and I had such a low confidence. So it was like the only thing that I felt, I was good at. I actually played the trumpet.
Really?
So I think
No,
I got
what?
my good
I don't
support
know that.
muscle from that. Yeah,
I didn't know you played the trumpet.
I did for 6 years.
You
well,
better.
The cornet. It's like a smaller trumpet, but nobody knows what a cornet is. So, like it's a little smaller horn than
It's
a
not the
trumpet.
one that's on TV. It's the one hidden in the back.
Not the one with the solos. It's one with the harmony. But I mean, I never told you this. Now we're into that. I learned so much from you, and I remember the first thing I learned from you. I know I taught you all of the runs you could do, but
Guys.
I learned such an important lesson. I grew up we were 5 kids,
Yeah.
and I was the oldest. I had 4 brothers, and
Yeah.
it was like, get the food before someone else. It's like, get for yourself, because it's gonna be gone.
Yeah.
And I remember meeting you in high school, and you were always so generous. You were like, oh, I'll pay for that. Oh, here, have mine. You were always such a generous person with your money, with your time, with your compliments. Like, everything around you was always so giving. I mean that. It's something I really remember you for. And I learned a lot about, wow, when that felt so good to me when you did it. And I was like, I'm going to try and not be so like, get something, but I want to give more and be more generous. And that lesson have gotten me really far to just in general, give, it will come back. So don't worry about that. And I really learned that from you. That was the first thing I learned from you. Then I learned so much about being confident, believing in yourself, just reach for the stars. You might land on the moon, or you might reach those stars,
Yeah.
So you were such a blessing in my life at that time, because I was a little gray, awkward little weird.
Well, that period of
thing.
life is dramatic. I mean, it's like, coming into yourself, going through the childhood trauma, trying to figure that out, and then trying to be in your teens, which is a whole nother set of drama as well, and just trying to figure out your way in life. But I want to play the first song out of several, which is actually one of my favorites from your album. And I think it segues in perfectly, because we're talking about friendship, and I want to talk more about that. But this is the first song from Julie Lindell's debut album, To Whom It May Concern, which we're going to listen more to during the session. But here is the beautiful song called Friends Forever.
In any kind of weather. thankful you're around to pick me up when I'm feeling down. Thank you for showing you care, yeah. And I know when I call with my back up against the wall, you always answer my prayers.
Yeah, she's giving full out music video on the spot. I love this song. Before we talk about the confidence that you got to make the album, I just want to go a little bit back because there was a period in your life you mentioned actually that you thought, how can I make a living out of this? But then things started popping and you got booked internationally and toured. How did I don't even remember how did that happen? I remember you always said it's God's favor, God blessed me with this. But what was the looking in hindsight? What were the pieces that were put together that made you go from A to B?
That is the weird thing.
Yeah.
I weren't out selling myself. I remember you and Klaus, you moved to New York and you were out there and killing it, and I got knocked up and married and stayed in Denmark,
And have a beautiful family, yeah.
Yes, with my beautiful daughter who is now 5.
5.
A little bit older than that.
Yeah.
But that's the whole story of, let's be honest, 20 years of doing this full time.
Yeah.
I never ever had financial problems for 20 years. I never had any support, or like in Denmark, you get like government support if you're, you don't have money for the bills or anything. I never received anything. But I made a pact with God because I had this, experience, which is a longer story. But the end of it was that he said, I want you to sing and I want you to go for it. And I said, that's, so, what are you thinking about? That is just so irresponsible. Nobody can make a living of being a singer. It's like saying you want to be a full-time football player. Yeah. So few people can do that. So that's like,
how do you know, for the people who don't have the vocabulary of saying I'm speaking to God, how do you know this thing? It's an intuition. Did you experience this voice or this conviction?
I always go to church, and I had for a year and a half. I had a prayer. I pray daily. I read my Bible. I have my my moments where I meditate and listen. And I just had a constant prayer for a year and a half. What is my career going to be? What am I going to do with my life? What is my purpose? How can you, and it ended up being this thing that God, through his word and with this quiet voice in my head, he told me that, it actually came so far that I had an encounter with another person that came from far away, somebody I never met, who suddenly looks at me and says, I have a word from God to you. And it was just a normal person, not somebody used to, not like and he was so shocked himself, and he came out and he said, I saw a picture of you back in my country. I saw you. I have this word for you. That God told me what your career should be, which has been what I had been meditating and praying about, was what should I do? What should I do? and then this person who I've never met said the weird thing, and he was shaking about this thing, that I saw a picture and God said, you will meet this girl and you have to tell her what her career is going to be. And said, in my mind, in my dream, you had the blouse on that you have on now. That was what blew him. It was like, I didn't know who you were, and now I see you, and you have that blouse on. And I had tried that earlier when I was 10.
Yeah.
That God had told me I was going to meet somebody that I had to pray for.
Yeah.
And at a concert when I'm 10 years old with this kids thing at church, there is the exact guy so I tried this myself.
Okay,
and I never met this guy, and he was in a wheelchair.
Wow.
And it was like, I was 10 and I went over and said, can I pray for you? And he bursted out in tears.
Yeah.
So I had the experience of being used like a vessel, to pray for somebody. And it was such a shock for me because I knew what I saw in my mind and I never met this person. So somebody comes and says this to me and he said, I know what your career is going to be. And I was like, yes, the sign, it's like God said, I'm going to put it to her clearly. And it was he was so shaken by this experience. And I was like, this is for real. I've tried this.
Yeah.
And then he says, God said to tell me your career is going to be to always, under any circumstances, always stay close to him. And I was like, what?
You were like, give me that.
That is so lame.
Yeah.
That is what everybody's supposed to do. I was like, oh, thank you. And I went away and I was so upset. And I was so, and I walked over this grass field. We were outside at church and I walked away. I was like, that was such what an, idiot. What a scam, And then it just went like this. And God spoke to me and he said, I got everything for you, but not before you give me everything. Are you willing for your life career to be to obey me, or do you just want to sing? And he said, I need you to give your voice back to me. What if I tell you that I need you in Sri Lanka on a children's home for the rest of your life, or I need you in Greenland, or I need you in Africa? And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That Greenland, really? And so I prayed for a longer time. And at a point, after the 1.5 year, it came to this situation where I said, God, being a spiritual person, having to, I want to do this 100%. I'm not just, So I said, I want to do this. It came to this conclusion that I said, okay, it's more important for me to obey you, and then whatever you have for me is what I want to do. And from that moment, I got everything. And all those things that I got was just so random. Somebody calling me that actually needed a number for someone else. And I was like, and he's very good and so and so. And after talking was like, actually, I'd like to have you for this job. Oh, me? But I actually feel like you are the right person. I was like, no, here's the number for this. And then suddenly, I got hired, or it was just people suggesting me in the most random kind of way. And this is, what God can do. It's not, he's been my manager. I can really not to credit. I'm really bad at selling myself. So I did not ever go for it. I didn't even believe it was possible. I never dared to trust it. But he said, I will show you what I can do. Yeah. And I said, okay, just promise me one thing, that I will not always have food for my baby and not need roof over my head and have food on the table. And I'm financially, he really blessed me also, so I can be safe. Yeah. Like in this Corona time where it happened again.
Yes, exactly. But it sounds, for people who have spiritual or lean spiritually, this is not a new thing. I think when you just know, and so, it's not something it's normal to talk about. That's why I feel we're very blessed as a group of friends that we can actually speak about this very honestly and say really crazy, outlandish stuff like this. But to us, it's so normal. But one thing that I believe, and you have proven this again, not only do you have a very strong faith, and I believe everything starts in the mind first and then it manifests, but you also, especially in our business, you need to keep your instruments ready and keep it polished at all times. So coming from a very successful, European tour, and you really got molded, I guess, on these big tours. You were really thrown into it and you were just working right away. The next step in my objective is it's a natural evolution of you when I look at you from outside, that you would take on what I want to talk about next, this interesting science of complete vocal institute, complete vocal technique, because could you actually share with me share with us what it has done for you? I can hear the difference with you, but also, and I also can feel, you talk about confidence, but it also really shines through, in addition, coming from this school or this training.
Yeah. Well, Catherine Sadeline, who invented the complete vocal technique, is here from Denmark, and I had known about her for years.
Mm.
And I never ever had. I started with just in classical choirs, and I was in the back row, and I was never a soloist, and I played the horn and all that.
Mm.
My parents always pushed me that we should play an instrument.
'Cause you grew up in church. You grew up in church.
I grew up in church,
Yes.
yeah, and I was, singing church choirs and so on.
Yeah.
And actually, Under Crouch that you mentioned
Yeah.
earlier was in my parents' EPs.
Yeah.
So that's where I got to know him, this black gospel singer, and very popular in
The
the
gospel
70s,
titan.
came
Yes.
to Denmark. Yeah. So that was very different, and I just love Tina Turner. I love Whitney Houston. So I never had problems with my voice. I think also playing the horn, I got really good support technique until I came out I had 12 showcases and came out with a little 5 songs album.
Mm-hmm.
I've had 7 record deals that didn't happen. I've had also things that were doors that were closed for me. So I'm not saying that my life has just been God just took me through. I also had things where doors closed and others opened, and where I've been like, why this way or this way? But I've tried to be like obedient for what is the right thing for me to do. But then suddenly I lost my voice in the first showcase out of 12 on the first song. And it never happened to me before. I had such a healthy voice. I was never hoarse or anything. And then this happened, and I was so shocked. And a really good friend of mine took me to see a CVT teacher, and I got fixed immediately. I could sing songs that I had not been able to sing in that key before, right after I'd been hoarse. I could barely speak when I came.
Yeah.
And I had emergency aid program with the CVT, and it was like, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah.
I met other vocal techniques that I felt like I was not really changing my singing. I felt the teacher was just complimenting me, but not really teaching me anything.
Yeah.
So I had to look into this. I will say the first week I started at CVI, I was asked to record the sound examples that are in the sound library at the app. I was already a really good singer, but just had no idea what I was doing. So I was not a very good teacher. And I think really given me confidence as a teacher to know all the muscles, to know all the anatomy, and know exactly what support is, how you do everything right and wrong. And also the pedagogics of CVT, of the complete vocal technique, is very, I don't know, it's just very...
I think it's
very,
the most
very
easy to understand.
Positive.
It's very what? Positive? You said...
It's just very positive.
Yeah.
You're never a teacher. You're always a guide. We're
Yeah.
all equal. I will never tell a singer how they should sing. They will tell me how they want to sound, and I'll help them get there.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm not, it's just very... I'm lifting other people up, which is also what you do as a gospel singer. So I felt it's very much in line with the pedagogics
Exactly.
of being very, speaking to people in a very worthy way and lifting them up and helping them, and not thinking, that you're above them, but we're even.
Yes.
So that gave me a lot of confidence as a teacher. It definitely also helped my singing, because now I've taught for 10 years at the Complete Vocal Institute with Catherine. So before I finished my teacher education, I actually got hired to work there, and I'm still there, and I love it.
Yeah.
And I get to educate these complete vocal technique teachers from all over the world, and they're amazing. They're from conservatoriums and universities, and they come and take our education to get an authorization in CVT.
Yeah.
And it's now the biggest vocal technique worldwide, with the biggest amount of teachers who actually say the same thing and have the same knowledge. And it's just spreading because it works. It's efficient. You don't get any, BS. You don't get a religion. Everything is just, there's science behind everything, and it just works right away. It's just very simple, and I think all singers just recommend it to others because it works so well. So it definitely, of course, worked on my singing, and I've, I don't get hoarse. I know how to train my voice, and Yeah, but every singer
Mm.
should have a vocal coach and an
Absolutely.
efficient, good vocal coach. I mean, Celine Dion has one.
I mean, I
I
think,
will always go to checkups.
yeah,
I will, any singer should always have a coach, should always never stop working on your instrument. Our instrument are muscles.
yeah.
And I'm sad to say, from the age of 25 and after, we're just dying. It's
From the
muscle
positive
mass
to the
is decreasing, and unless we
Yeah.
actually work in the gym and weight lift, or we give the
absolutely.
muscle challenges, then they
Yeah.
decrease.
Yeah.
And our muscles for singing is we're like athletes. It's very physical to sing. And if
Absolutely.
you lost weight, or if you had a baby, or if you just grown older, you don't get wrinkles on your vocal cords and sound old. Your voice don't drop because you're older. You just weak and you lose muscle mass. If you train that, you can be a soprano. You can be everything for the rest of your life.
Two things, because I actually noticed that now that I was on, I was touring the last 2 years in the Michael Jackson show, and I had to sing in a very particular way, and also because I was dancing, and it's so counter. It's really opposite of singing when you're dancing, because you're so tense.
Yeah.
So it really messed me up in the beginning, because I had to sing in a mode mostly. I mostly had to sing in overdrive, and I felt that my runs were really not as fast. Also because I didn't have to do it. So
Yeah.
so speaking about muscle memory, what would you say is because the technique states that claims that that everybody can learn to sing, right?
Yeah.
How much would you say, in your experience of teaching, what is the percentage of talent or given versus something that you can learn? How would you explain that?
I know I've been a vocal coach for a long time in X Factor and these talent shows. I do not believe in X Factor. I do not believe in that. I really believe everybody can learn to sing. I don't think everybody has great taste.
Yeah, it's taste.
But I mean, what if Björk went to a vocal coach and that said to her, you can't sound like that. So I would never crush somebody's taste, but it's that person, expression. And there might be a little indie kind of crowd that loves that album that person is going to do.
Yeah.
And maybe nobody's going to love it. But if that person loves it, maybe the others get that music. Not everything has to be mainstream and for everybody.
Yeah.
But I do believe, first of all, you mentioned muscle memory. Everything is muscle memory.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everything is muscle memory. So let's say we look at all babies that are born. All babies that are born cry. If they have, stomach ache, they can cry for 10 hours in a row. I've never heard about a baby that got hoarse. They don't lose their voice. You can just keep crying, which is the same mode as Tina Turner or Shaka Khan uses.
Yeah.
Really loud, screaming, and you can do it for hours. You're born to do loud voices. It is. And it just sounds quieter when a baby cries than when Tina Turner sings, because the baby is not fully grown. It's the exact same anatomy when you look with a camera in the throat.
Yeah.
But what is the second thing you repeat with your voice? That is your mother tongue.
Yeah, language.
And that language comes with a lot of repetitions of good or bad things. Some languages, Danish has a lot of challenges. It's like it's in back in your throat, and it has a lot of tensions in the language.
Yeah.
And people sing the way they speak. So you have a personality that's outgoing, so you're loud, like, hey, whoa, you're used to be loud. Or are you, oh, my name is Julie, and and then you have practiced a lower volume mode. Or are you from a country that has a culture that's very outgoing? The Italians created the Italian opera because they're also that,
Yeah, reflecting their culture. Yes, exactly.
Exactly. So, but you cannot hear the difference in Filipino or Danish or American or Chinese or African baby crying.
Yeah.
So when you tell me that it's anatomy, well, yes, of course, you're a man. I'm a lady. I can never, sing as low as you because your vocal cord, because of testosterone, is bigger than mine.
Yeah.
But anatomy has not, like, I have people telling me white people cannot sing gospel because, the black people in America have a certain, space in the back where they can do a gospel sound. Like, what kind of crap is that? On the inside, you cannot see the difference.
Yeah.
But they have a different language and they grew up in a different culture.
Yeah.
But everybody can learn to sing that, but it will be maybe very far from what you're used to. And all the repetitions you've done with your mother tongue, you now have to do with a new sound you want to learn.
Speaking of the 10,000 repetition is
I
like,
think
right?
it's 12 actually, 12,000 repetition to learn something new. Yeah. So that means that it will not begin to feel natural for your muscles before they repeated it a lot. So that's one thing.
Yeah.
But the other thing when we talk about talent is the learning types. People learn in 5 different learning types. This is what pedagogues know for schools, for kids, and so on.
Yeah.
Some would say 6, some would say 7. But anyway, we work with 5 learning types when we educate our vocal teachers in teaching, not just teaching a singer the same way, but there are many different languages that singers need to be taught in so they feel understood and they understand what you're telling them, because people do not communicate in the same way. So some people are very visual and they need to see drawings, and it's very important what's in front of their eyes.
Yeah.
The room they're in, the clothes they're wearing. They're very visual. They're good at being visual.
Yeah.
Some people are very kinesthetic. They might be dancers or yoga, enthusiasts, and they really feel their body. They need to stretch. They feel their blood sugar. Their body is speaking very loud, and they really need, that. Some people are imaginative. They see the world in pictures, like, that sounds like
orange,
a frog, or that, like a parallel.
Yeah.
My voice is like a candy flush in the cloud. I want to have it more like rooted in the ground. That's an image of what they. They might have a light sound color and want it darker, but that's a picture of it.
Yeah.
Other people learn auditively, and some are logic that, they read the whole textbook. But auditive singers, that's how you can have an 8-year-old. That's you, exactly. A lot of singers are very auditive, but you are often 2 or 3 of these. And very auditive singers is how you can have an 8-year-old little boy from Thailand who can sing exactly I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston, sounding exactly like her, because he is a parrot. He learned by, copying.
Yeah.
But when you have an auditive singer, they can sing something very impressive. They don't have to understand it logically or visually learn it. They can just copy it like a parrot. But when they have to sing something they haven't heard anybody sing before, they don't know how to create it. So they have other things they need to learn, but they often very young and fast sound like they have X factor or a big talent. But when I work with these very auditive singers, they have a problem. Somebody writes them original songs and they're in the studio and they don't know how to create one or how to sound. They're like, should I sing it like Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston or so-and-so? But can you sing it like you? How can I recognize your sound?
Yeah.
How can you be an artist that I can remember?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't have a personality, So this is for every singer to find personality and to find a niche and to find how can I, hear your life story. And we're all unique. So it's just digging into being completely 100% honest you, and don't try and be someone else, and then find your sound and your artistry and tell your story with your emotions and with what you like. And probably if you like it, someone else will like it too. So that's what I tell these talented singers.
Amen. I want to hold that thought because I want to dive more into that, but I want to play another song of yours, which is the title track of your album, To Whom It May Concern, which I was very lucky to sing backup on was it 1 or 2 songs? But I didn't hear this because I was always, you're a soprano for life, but there were some passages in this track that I didn't really hear before, like you're hitting high G's. Come on, high G's. So here is...
Oh, that's nothing.
I know.
That's like early morning.
Oh, God. Okay, here is To Whom It May Concern. Here we go.
Last
Yes, To Whom It May Concern by Julie Lindell from her debut album, To Whom It May Concern. Speaking of, because in the intro I said we'll talk about what successful singing truly means. And we covered some successful truly, what that means technically, but that's not the only part of what successful singing truly means. You just touched on it just briefly when you said, it's being honest and being true about your story and being honest about who you are. Could you go deeper into that? Because that's really tapping into the emotional side of teaching vocals, and also tapping into what I believe is the most important thing in singing anyway. It's to transport emotion to other people.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I always think of it in like two, if you had a graph, like that you can have all this vocal technique, but if you don't have interpretation to back it up, it's just going to be some kind of, show off. So you always have vocal technique, but you have to work on having interpretation and be able to back up all the technique you do with emotions, or else and still tell the story. This is why I love someone like our dear wonderful idol Kimberell. She would do so many runs and so much difficult technique, and you don't notice it. It's like
exactly.
So effortless. It's not until you try and sing what she's doing, or you really sit and analyze it, which you don't, because it's so powerful.
Yeah.
It's so expressive. It's so much about the story and about her message to you that shines through.
Yeah.
And then when you try and repeat it, it's like, this is impossible to sing. This
totally.
is, how did she ever get her voice to do this? This is insane, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, on YouTube, you can find a billion videos of me trying to sing Kimberell videos where people are trying, they like 3 lines, they got those 3, So she's such an amazing
She's a lexicon.
singer.
Yeah, she's the Google of voice.
But she's not just a technical singer, because she can match it with the interpretation.
Yes,
my success in life was, first of all, because I was a mom real early, was I was like, I need to have bread on the table. I need to have roof over my head with whatever I spend my life on, because I have responsibility for this little human being. Yeah. And this is so important to me. I don't want to be, like a jazz musician having, sometimes money, living in a little, I was like, I have to feel safe and taken care of.
We love jazz musicians, by the way.
We love those, but they're, so hardcore. I'm not hardcore. I'm not, I cannot do camping. I can only do glamping. So I really had to, and then my other thing was, I really just wanted to be the best at things.
Yeah, I knew that. I mean, that's what I think we shared that same drive. That's one drive we were nerding about in school, that like, I think we had that in common, that because there were many great talents in the school, but it's like, so when you said you said you had drive, I knew this.
I think we pushed each other.
I saw that in you already.
Way.
Yeah, totally. But I saw this in you, that you were very competitive in a healthy way. I'm super competitive but it's because I want to be the best at whatever I pick at that moment.
I just love learning.
Yes.
I love, I'm like, if there's something I can't do, I'm like,
figure it
I have
out.
to be able to do this.
Yeah.
But it's not in a way that, that I'm not enjoying what I can already do. It's just, I love to find something I can't do, or find somebody who can do something I can't do. And then I just completely, I just soak into them, and I'm like, I'm just getting all the stuff they can do. Like, some singers have very difficult time singing with people that are better than them. They're like, I can't do this, and now I'm not good, and I'll never
hang out with
when
the
I meet somebody who is better than me, I just completely, which is so rare. No, I'm kidding. I really completely just, I shadow them. I just like, what? How did you do? Oh, that's so cool. And I just suck all their knowledge, and everything I study it, I learn. And it doesn't make me, I love to get to sing with people that are so talented, because then they lift me up,
Yeah.
you know. So,
Yeah.
and I really feel and this is what people don't know, when we were in high school, every time we had a break between lessons and classes, you and I would just run to our concert theater hall. There was a
Yes.
balcony with a big grand piano, and we would just sit there and play all the biggest ballads and all the,
Because the reverb in that room was insane, right?
And yes, the acoustics were awesome,
Yeah.
and you would play the piano, and we would sing, and we would do duets, and we would, and just thrive off each other and inspire each other and throw that,
Yeah.
that creative ball around. So when you did something, it's like, wow, that's cool, and I'm gonna,
Yeah.
So this was always just, I learned so much from that, and
Yeah.
I think we just clicked into feeding off each other like that, lifting each other up.
Yeah.
I probably lifted you up more than you lift me, but anyway, no, I'm joking. Just because we know each other so well. No, you've always been super, super talented, and you still are. You are just a multi-talent, because you're such an amazing singer, but then you're also amazing at instruments, at producing, at songwriting, then you do these videos. I remember when you rented a saxophone and taught yourself to play the saxophone.
I could only play the solo. I Love Your Smile. Shanice, I Love Your Smile. That was the only thing I could play.
You just do these things like I do, where I'm like, okay, I can't do that. I got to learn. So I probably can get good at that. And I love, it motivates me to learn new things. And I think we're the same like that. And that helps you get better. If you hate the frustration of not being good at something yet, then you stop there, and then you never get good at anything. So I think that's an awesome thing. If you want to get good, you keep, you have that whole time where you're not good yet, but you keep trying.
Absolutely.
And then you get good. Success looks a lot like hard work.
Yeah. And
it's
also
a lot of work.
Also, I want to touch on, because like you say, become better at something, because this is our work. This is our life's work. So it's like, during a period of our life, it was maybe a hobby, but then we made it into our business because we have to live. We have to feed mouths with this job.
Yeah.
Nobody teaches us how to do. So later on, nobody teaches you in school how to be entrepreneurial. How did you, you've had great success living as a professional singer, and I also want to talk about a call that you got from the National Treasure of Denmark. You're working with the National Treasure in music and in Linnet. So there's something, it's paid off all of your hard work, training, and nerding out and becoming better. But the entrepreneurial side, how did you, or how, like youngins out there, you can go to school for learning vocal technique, but how do you become a successful business person who can have, success with something like this? Who did you look to, and who did you study from? Me, of course.
No, there was nobody to look to. I had to learn by doing.
Trial and error.
I will, catching up on the other thing you said, that, I want to learn, and I'm motivated, and success look a lot like hard work.
Yeah.
I think that came from a fundamental thing in me that I was so grateful and thankful. My parents, every time I saw them, would say, are you not soon going to start an education? Nobody can make a living of singing, so you got to soon start to get an actual job, real job. And people I met would be like, oh yes, you sing yet? What do you do, like, on a daily basis? I'm like, I sing full time. Yeah, but nobody can make a living with that. What is your job? Like a daily job. I know you sing, but like, that is my job.
Yeah.
That's not a real job, is it? So I would get these things, but I think I had this, fundamental gratefulness that I kept getting gigs, and I could pay the bills, and I had a good life, and people would call me again and again and use me. I was so grateful that also, the Bible story, not to get all church and religious on you guys, but it's just so natural, because that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
The talents that we're giving, the story about somebody got 1 talent, someone got 2, someone got 3. That was the money at that time, called talents, which is now, some have 1 talent, some have 2, some have 3. You have 1 billion. I have 1. I can sing, I cannot dance. I'm a big girl, fat ass. You know,
No, you're
there's so
not.
many. I am. But anyway, but you look amazing. You have all these talents, but I had one talent, and I had so much respect for that talent. I was so grateful. So that I boiled so much soup on that bone. Do you
Yeah,
get me?
yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
I taught, I directed, I did everything around singing because I could sing, and I was so grateful that
Yeah.
I could do that and somebody would use me for that. So it all came from also this gratefulness that
Yeah.
I was able to do it. That made me work harder, and
Yeah.
also being grateful to God that it kept coming. The jobs, the phone kept ringing, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit like, you know, Pippi Langstocking. She says, "Oh, I haven't tried that before, so that I will probably be good at," you know. So
But
I
I
was
love the
18.
mentality
I was
because there's no
18 when somebody
restrictions.
said, yeah, I was 18 when somebody said, "Can you direct our gospel choir?" I was like, my first response, little Julie, is no, because I had no confidence, you know. And then out of my mouth would be,
Yeah.
"Sure," you know, and I'd be like, "I'll figure it out," you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fake it till you make it, learning by doing. You don't have anybody else for your gospel choir? Yeah, I'll do that, you
I'll
know.
do it. Yeah.
So in that way, I would. Then suddenly someone asked for a solo lesson for his vocal teaching, and I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I'd be like, "Oh, this is going to go wrong inside." And then my spirit somehow said,
You can do
"Well,
it.
then try and at least fail by trying instead of be a coward and just say, no, somebody needs your help, you know, do it."
Yeah.
So I'd be like, "Okay, I will do my best." And
Yeah.
I mean, I won't charge them if I, you know, I won't, you know, I'll try.
Yeah.
And then people kept coming. Then somebody said, "Write a song." Then somebody said, "Can you do a solo?" Then some. So it was almost like I was in school.
Yeah.
Like I had a bunch of years that was about directing, then it was about teaching, then it was about being backing singer, then it was about being a soloist, then it was about writing songs, then it was about, you know.
Yeah.
So it was almost like I learned everything around singing, and then it was team building. And in that period of time, all the gigs that the phone rang was about this topic.
Yeah.
And this is so weird. I mean,
That
my
is-
husband is the only one who really understands, because we've been together for 20 years now, been married for 20 years,
Hallelujah.
and have 3 lovely kids that are healthy and wonderful. And I'm just, I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. And I mean, God has been so faithful, and I'm so blessed and grateful. It's been way beyond anything I could ever dare to think could have happened for little me. But so that makes you work hard. That makes you have a lot of respect when you see all the singers who don't make it. It's like, wow, I have jobs. People want pay to hear me sing.
Yeah.
I better deliver. I better show up on time. I better work my ass off, because you're never better than the last job you had.
Amen. Absolutely. Yes. So. Speaking of choir, I found this snippet of you singing every singer's you have to sing this once in your life if you're a vocalist, to sing the national anthem. It's like the most, it's the favorite. I love this video. So guys, Julie got to sing. Was this during Obama?
This was very, very early morning.
Don't make excuses for it, because you sound amazing. Yeah, it's early in the morning. It's like 8 in the morning. Nobody sings at 8 in the morning. Well, she did. But this is Julie singing on national TV. And was it during Obama?
He had just won his second term, so that happened during the night and they called me
Danish
the evening
time
before, saying, you know, he's probably going to win, so we want to have the national. We always hear that in America, and you know, we think it's so great, so we want to have in the morning TV gospel choir and you singing
the Star Spangled Banner by
Julie. We always enjoyed Whitney doing, and I
exactly.
I was so nervous.
But you sound amazing. Guys, here is Star Spangled Banner by Julie Lindell on national TV.
my goodness.
Confetti and fireworks. I love it. I love it. Let's just quickly talk about, because this is, you mentioned it before. Why is it that you mentioned something about language? And I guess because the whole world is listening to, I mean, English is or American English is the standard of vocal, of language in pop music, right? You mentioned before, technically, there's a reason why, or did we talk about? We talked about this before. There's a reason why gospel singers sound in a certain way. Could you elaborate a little bit more about that, coming from the complete vocal technique mindset, or what you've analyzed? Why certain languages have a sound, or why can you reach certain notes?
It's just that all languages have certain sounds.
Yeah.
And but it's not just, the sound. It's, of course, also if you're outgoing, ingoing, your personality and culture, So in Denmark, when we speak Danish, it would never be with this much twang. Like when I speak American now, there's so much twang in my language. Twang is a little bottleneck of the epiglottis and arytenoid meeting above the vocal cords.
Come on.
And this twang you need for, if I go, so this, say, can you, this sound.
Yeah.
And in Denmark, I would say,
yeah.
This would be natural for a Danish singer because these are the different sounds we have. So we have 4 modes, and in languages we also speak in a certain mode. And when I teach in Finland, they speak in overdrive or full register or whatever people want to call it. It's so they speak in this mode.
Yeah.
In Norway, right next to Finland, they speak in neutral. So it's today. You can never be angry in that.
Speaking of Norway, we have Christina Undjem sending us hearts.
Oh, really? Yeah. I can't see any comments.
No, we're going to go through the comments afterwards. Guys, if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to tip in.
She's
ask us anything.
Wonderful singer.
Amazing. Yeah.
So they want to learn something else than what they can all do. So and American language has a lot of twang. So therefore you have the possibility of really getting loud volumes because you need it for edge, which is the 4th mode.
Yeah.
That we talked about. Tina Turner, Chaka Khan sings in edge, and a lot of, Aretha Franklin has a lot of edge in her voice. So that's one thing. But a typical gospel sound would be, the combination would be all modes. So you would definitely not just sing like da 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 da. You sing in the same mode. Like funk music is very much like the same kind of volume, but you'd be like amazing grace. So you use like a very dynamic volume from 1 to 10.
Yeah.
That's one thing about gospel. You also use all sound colors. So apart from having 4 modes we can change sound colors. It's about sound colors about space. So I can have a dark sound color or light sound color. Yeah. So I can say amazing grace, how sweet the
sound.
Yeah. So you can make all these different sound colors, and you can make all these different modes, and you can. Jeg sidder bare og laver noget radio i Berlin.
Everybody wants to join the party.
Hvor lang tid er der til det?
Minus 5 minutter.
Okay. So I can change the mode, I can change the sound color, and then I can add all these effects like and the vibrato. Different tempis of vibrato.
Yeah.
Different sound colors, different modes, different runs, creaks. distortion, all these things. So the sound of gospel is actually like all emotions.
And that's
very
why
happy, very sad, all volumes, all sound colors, all effects. That's like in a change around. That's typical gospel.
yeah,
Very fast.
explain.
Run through.
And which is
Yeah.
probably the reason why for vocal nerds, that's the go-to, one of the go-to, even for musicians, instrumentalists, because you learn all of it. You can learn all of it in gospel music, all kinds of, like, you get the jazz edge, you get whatever. There's all of it in gospel
And the
music. Right?
chords are extended, so
Totally.
you like jazz, you have all the extensions of the chords. So that's what, of course, makes it fun to sing gospel for a singer from a technical point of view.
Yeah,
That wasn't why I started singing gospel. That was because it was where I found an expression that fitted how I felt my faith and belief
yeah,
was expressed in the way I felt it. I
Yeah.
didn't always feel that every Danish hymn expressed my complete, overwhelming experience of God and my spirituality. So the gospel music kind of had those huge emotions that I felt. So that's how it became just an expression of my faith. And so
Speaking of, I want to just show a little snippet of, because for the last, I don't know how many years now you've been working with Linnet, but I mentioned briefly, Linnet is the national treasure.
8 years. or
7, 8
something, yeah.
years is the national treasure of Denmark, whose music is the soundtrack of our lives, and you've been touring with her. So I'm just going to show a little snippet of you in all of your glory, next to three of the most probably the biggest vocalist singers in Denmark, Lis Sørensen and Sanne Salmonsen and Linnet. But in this clip, it's all about Julie.
Oh, thank you.
Here is Julie singing. Okay.
Men det gør jeg lige imens.
Yes. While you're moving location, I'm gonna play just another clip of. I found this in the vaults. You can find everything on YouTube, obviously. But I remember this night.
What did you dig up?
No. It's actually beautiful. It's a beautiful video because speaking of gospel music, and this is where you feel the most at home. Kurt Carr, the Kurt Carr singers were in Copenhagen.
Oh my goodness, you're killing me.
No, but this was like this was a blissful, heavenly moment for all of us, like the vocal nerd friends group of us who were there. But you were there, you got to sing with them, and I just wanted to talk because this clip actually showcases a little bit of the technicality that you spoke about, but it also showcases you. No, but you're singing. You're not singing lead in this clip. You're singing harmony. But
am.
You're singing.
I know what it is. Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm just gonna clip while you're moving your location. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just relocating.
So,
yes.
guys, here is the Kurt Carr singers featuring Julie Lindell.
Oh my goodness, so happy, so happy. Ja, skal nok smutte på MP4 live på radio.
Yes, ma'am. You look like you were in heaven there when you were singing with the gospel choir.
I was.
Amazing.
It was like, okay, this is where I belong.
Yeah.
No,
oh my God. Amazing.
They were just. Kurt Carr's singers are some of the best in
the world.
Oh, this is really
Yeah.
in the world. So it was that was just such a trip that he invited me up to sing. I did the warm up before the concert. I did a little concert before the concert with my choir.
Yeah.
And with my own songs.
Yeah.
And then he invited me up to join with his band, and that was just, they played like they played for the last time ever in their life. It was like, wow.
And
they were
sang,
so good.
Yeah, so amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, did you find a spot where you can actually sing?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so guys, obviously it's the short and sweet session. And I know Julie's busy. She's a mom and she has a family and she's actually on vacation. So I'm very, very appreciative
I'm
and
on
grateful
vacay, but
that
I
she
can
spends it
always
here
sing.
with us. She can always sing. Where are you? In a camping? In a
Oh, yes.
tent?
I'm in my trailer. In my glamping trailer.
In your glamping So
I bought this huge trailer.
won't he do it? She's
Won't
highly
he do
favored.
it?
Highly favored.
Hallelujah.
So, guys, since it is the short and sweet session, we have to do a little short, live music offering. So, when I asked Julie what to do, we were like, well, let's do a gospel song. We haven't done this. It's not rehearsed. It's live. I hope you have 4G wherever you are, so there's no latency and stuff.
Yeah. Well, so far, it sounds fine. So
Okay.
I'm happy. I love the Lord. He heard my cry, oh, and pitied every groan. Long as I live, and troubles rise, I'll hasten to his throne.
I'll do a little verse, okay?
Yes, sing.
I love the Lord, 'cause he heard my cry and pitied every groan.
Yeah.
Long as I live and troubles rise, I'll hasten to
Yeah.
his throne. Back to your key.
I love the Lord. Oh, he heard my cry, and gave every throne.
You want to go up or stay here?
I'll hasten
Okay,
I'll
let's go.
hasten to his throne. I'll hasten to his throne. I'll hasten to his throne. Sing it.
I'll hasten to your throne.
Hallelujah.
Oh, I'll hasten to his throne. Thank you, Jesus. I'll hasten unto your throne.
Yes.
I'll hasten to
His throne. You know, Andy, I'm not gonna walk to get to Jesus. No, no, no. I'm gonna hasten to get to him. Yeah. I'm gonna hurry to be in his presence. And that's where I'm not ever afraid. I'm gonna run, I'm gonna hasten to get to you, Lord.
Yeah.
I'm gonna I'm gonna run to you, Lord, to be in your presence, to be in your arms, oh, to be surrounded by your glory and your blessings, Lord. I thank you for everything you've done. I thank you for this friendship, for my friend,
Thank you. Thank
for putting
you.
him in my life.
Putting you in my life.
I love you, my brother from another
Love you,
mother.
my sister. Yeah, I love you. I'll hasten to his throne.
Amen.
I love you, Julie, my sister.
I'm so happy we always had this together.
Yes.
It's
Actually, I miss it.
I love you so much.
I love you more.
We can sing, we can laugh, we
we
can
can-
share lives, we can be so silly and so serious, and
Yeah.
it's been going on for so many years.
More than 5 years. Who would have known?
More than 5. I love you.
I love
and
you.
I just thank you for everything you shared of yourself and taught me, and
Thank you for sharing of you.
keep on being an inspiration with everything you do. It's such a blessing for me to call you my friend, my brother.
My sister. Before you leave, let me just show people where to find you, okay? So of Julie.
Oh,
JulieLindell.com on Instagram.
Come and hang with me.
Julie Lindell Singer. And on your Instagram, you show, which I so love, I really, really love this. You also show it on your Facebook, which is Julie Lindell Sangaine, which means singer in English. But you show, you make videos where you break down runs and riffs, and you do it so excellently. I love it. There's so much to learn from watching Julie Lindell's Instagram page. A lot of notes. Put on your tennis shoes because you'll be running for your life.
You'll be running for your life.
I know you're in a hurry, but I just need 2 more minutes from you before we leave.
Yeah, I'm right here.
In your glamping, what did you call it?
In my big fat trailer.
In your it's always full circle. Back in your trailer. Okay, no
Back
judgment.
in my trailer.
Okay, are you up for a little game of trivia, Julie?
Oh my goodness.
It's just
I probably am really bad at it.
No, you're it's gonna be easy. Okay. Name me your top 5 singers.
Oh my goodness.
I know you have a lot, but if you have to
Andy
pick.
Roda. Sucking up for the host. I am. I'm a big fan of Kimberell
Oh,
and the Clark sisters. Can we
yes.
just do those as
Yes.
one? And Kiara.
Yeah.
And of course, Beyonce, Whitney. We cannot. This is so hard. Mariah, Melody Gardot, Eva Cassidy.
Yes. Oh, yes.
There's so many.
You
This
already
is
hit
so
5.
hard.
You did it.
Oh, yeah, but I mean,
Congratulations.
I cannot cheat on any of them. They're all number one to me.
Yeah, and this is not about a competition. It's just to get to know you better. What is your taste and who you like?
Yeah, check those out.
Check those
If you want
out.
to listen to amazing vocals that are not just good technically, but they're also so
Storytellers.
artistic, and they carried by the story and the emotions. That's what makes really great singers, I think.
Amazing. Okay. If you could compose an all-star singers vocal group. So imagine you had to pick a soprano, alto, tenor, bass, or whatever. It could also be just soprano, alto, tenor. What would that vocal group consist of? It could also be some of this vocalists that you mentioned now, but like to get your sound, like a perfect sound or perfect mix of sounds, because they have to complement each other as well.
Yes, you'll be in it.
No.
Yes, you're hired again. I always hire you for these gigs, Andy, because
It's
you
not
laugh at
about-
my jokes.
Exactly. That's the only
all I
reason why. That's the only reason why.
So, like from any singer? or
Yeah, it's
famous
from any
singers,
singer.
or, like,
It's more about It's if you could put together a vocal group of singers to have like an ultimate vocal
I think
weapon group.
Whitney, me, and Adele, or maybe Mary Mary. I could be the third Mary. Oh, Mary, Mary, Mary.
That's you. You got it. All
I
right.
don't know. That's too hard. That's just surreal. You and me and Whitney.
Okay.
That would be a fun night.
And where would Whitney be? She would be at the back. Who would be in the front?
She'd be- yeah. But
Whitney,
if she were
Whitney, would you
alive,
mind? Whitney, would you mind just for tonight? Just come on.
Yeah. Can you do the tenor?
Okay. Name me your top 3 albums that have inspired you.
This is too hard. Okay.
I know you love more is more,
Okay.
but less is more sometimes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you used to
Whitney's album, with her second one.
the I Want to Dance with Somebody, the one
I
with
Want
the
to
white.
Dance with Somebody.
Okay,
There's so many good songs on that, and the Mariah Carey Hero,
yeah.
and maybe
You have to put a Kimberell album in there, maybe.
yeah, or Mary Mary, or I don't know. It's just and Kimberell, anything with Kimberell. Kurt Franklin, Kurt Carr, Eva
Yeah.
Cass. I can. That's too hard. I
The guy-
cannot.
It's called the Short and Sweet Session. I mean, it's like.
More
Okay,
is
we'll
more.
take it. We'll
I
take
am
it. We'll take
not,
Whitney. We'll take Whitney, Mariah, and Kimberell. Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. What is your biggest achievement so far? Just in life.
That's definitely my kids and my husband, for sure.
Yeah.
My 3 kids, being a mom, I am just so proud of them, especially my daughter, who is a singer herself.
She's a wonderful singer.
Amazing.
Yeah.
She's 19. She's beautiful, talented, so humble. She's just so clever and wise, and I'm just so grateful to get to be her mom. And my little 2 boys, 5 and 2, are getting me up in the morning. That's why I'm in a trailer. They're locked in there. I'm out here. They just love camping. I hate it so much.
Everybody thought it was your diva moment, but it's really not. It's just
no, but they keep me young. They're
Yeah.
just so amazing,
Yeah.
and they're give me flowers, and they're so sweet.
Aw.
But I think, I mean, the biggest achievement in these times, I think, to have just had this April during Corona, which made us not being able to go out in the restaurant we wanted to celebrate on, a special sushi thing that we had planned. But my husband and I, he was my first boyfriend. And we've been together for married for 20 years. This April, 8th of April.
Yay.
You sang my wedding.
Yay.
And and he is the most amazing thing, an amazing pianist, and he's a psychologist. Maybe that's a good combi. Thought of everything. And he's
got the full
so
package.
calm and so clever, and he's like, he has a IQ of 170, and he's so wise and patient with me and teaches me things every day, and I respect him so much. And being married for 20 years, I'm just like, I'm so grateful. That's also an achievement. So, and then keeping friends like you and our friendships that, you know, this crowd, we go way back, and having friends that were there from before everything started, and we can just, you know, it's
Be
like
ourselves.
a family. I really appreciate. That's a big achievement.
Amen. My final question for you, Julie, before you go off on your vacation, what would you like your legacy to be?
Oh, I like it to be
What would you like people to remember you for, or leave behind to people?
that whenever you heard me sing a concert, you got something that helped or moved or comforted or lifted you up. I like my legacy to be on my tombstone, she was right about everything. And how generous she was with all of her millions.
I love it. That's the first time. It's the first time somebody took it there. She's not only an amazing vocalist, director, producer, recording artist, she's also a comedian. Okay, guys?
So you have to, when you look like this, you got to work with whatever, you know.
Beautiful.
Like...
You look beautiful. Julie, thank you so much for spending the last 1.5 hours. Oh my God, this is the longest.
Oh.
This is the longest short and sweet session. It should be.
That's because you talk so much.
It's from now on going to be called the long and loud session.
The longest,
The
loudest,
longest session.
pain in the ass sessions. Good luck with that, Andy.
Thank you so much, Julia, my love. I really appreciate your time, and I love tapping deeper into your mind and your generous heart and your amazing talent. You are such an amazing talent. I really am really proud of you and all the work that you're doing, not only on stage with you singing, but also lifting up a new generation of singers. So keep doing that, and I look forward to seeing you out there in real life. So enjoy the rest of your vacation, and I want to leave the people with one of my favorite songs from your album, where you're singing your face off, and I was so happy. I was very honored to sing the backup on one of this on this song.
I never remember you did the backup.
No, I hate you. You were like, well, the tenor couldn't do it. Can you do it? Thank you.
Really?
I was at
Oh, you're on there. I don't even remember.
Guys.
That's what happens when you get old. Well, I'm working on a new album.
Yeah.
But until then, I'm doing some concerts.
Yes,
These
I
next,
saw that.
2 months.
Yeah.
I'm doing quite a lot of concerts around the country.
Physical
and
concerts.
They're all, yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
In Denmark. And
Yes.
they're all for free.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes. Keep blessing the people out there.
Everything has been sponsored, so they're all for free. You can come and hear all kinds of songs with hopefully good messages and lots of fast runs.
Yay! That's what we love. If there's a few hearts here, and just a quick comments. Julie makes the most amazing pesto. Keep up the good work in the garden.
That's from Thomas.
And stay away from the hedge.
I can't even see who that's from.
Yeah,
but
you know who it
that's
is. Thomas says, "Don't believe them. I taught them everything they know."
Yes.
Amelia sends thumbs
our
up.
beautiful friend.
Christina Undjem, we love you, Christina. She sends hearts from Norway. Thomas, my dear friend, he sends hello and hearts from Johannesburg in South Africa. And his girlfriend as well. Love it. Well done. Thank you so much. So with that said, Julie, thank you for spending your time with me, with us. Thank you for sharing your amazing voice and your story of inspiration. And I can't wait to see you in real life. And we're going to do this again. Guys, brace yourself, because next session is going to be 5 hours. It's going to be a series when Julie comes on the next time. It's going to be like first season and second season. I love it.
I've told our friend Yen we should do a reality show about us.
Somebody, come on, finance it. Do it.
Hello.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Thank you so much. I love you. And we're going to leave the kids out there with You Are Why I Am. All right.
Take care. Love you.
Love you. Send my regards to everybody. Thank you so much,
Stay
guys, for
safe.
watching. And I'll see you next week again. So till then, stay happy, healthy, joyful. And don't touch the Rona, but stay joyful out there. All right. Much
God
love.
bless.
God bless. Ciao, everybody.